All right, welcome. Today we are going to crack open one of the biggest mysteries in German grammar, something that's going to totally unlock your ability to speak more naturally, the modal verbs. Let's just dive right in and figure this out.
So you've probably had this moment, right? You're building a German sentence, everything's going great, and then suddenly, poof, the verb you need just flies to the very end. It feels so random, but I promise you, it's not. There's a system, and once you see it, you can't unsee it.
And here's the secret. It all comes down to a special group of words called Modal Verben, or modal verbs. The best way to think of them is as helper verbs. They team up with another verb, the main action verb, to add an extra layer of meaning. You know, like saying you can do something, or you must do something. They're the reason for that verb jump.
Okay, so let's meet the main players here. There are 6 of these modal verbs that you are going to see absolutely everywhere in German. Let's get to know the cast of characters.
Here they are, the big 6. You've got können, which is your basic can or be able to. Then there's wollen for when you want to do something. Sollen is for should or ought to, like giving advice. Müssen is a strong one. It means must or have to. Dürfen is all about permission, like may or be allowed to. And finally, we have möchten, which is the polite way to say you would like to do something.
Oh, and here's a little fun fact for you. That last one, möchten, is technically a special form of the verb mögen, which means to like. But for all practical purposes, it acts just like a modal verb, follows all the same rules, so we just lump it in with the group. Think of it as the polite cousin of the family. Okay, now for the most important part. Seriously, this is the one rule that explains everything about that crazy jumping verb. I call it the verb kick rule. Once this clicks, German sentence structure is going to make so much more sense. So here's the deal. When a modal verb enters a sentence, it takes that powerful second position, the spot where the main verb normally lives. And when it does that, it literally kicks the main verb all the way to the very end of the sentence. That's it. That's the entire secret.
So let's build one. It's just 4 simple steps. 1, you start with your subject. 2, you put the modal verb right after it, and make sure you conjugate it correctly. 3, you add all the other stuff, objects, time, whatever. And 4, at the very, very end, you drop in your main verb, but, and this is key, in its original, infinitive form.
Let's see this rule in the wild. Look at this sentence. Wir sollen Cricket spielen. Okay, so wir is our subject, we. Right in second position, we have our modal, sollen, should. Then comes the object, cricket. And look what's all the way at the end, spielen, to play. The modal verb sollen kicked spielen to the end. Perfect.
All right, we've got the sentence structure down. That's huge. But now, we got to talk about the modal verb itself. Because just like other verbs, it has to change its shape to match the subject. But, well, modals are a little weird. They follow their own special pattern.
And here's the absolute game changer. With a normal verb like spielen, the ich form is spiele, and the he form is spielt. They're different, right? But with modals, the ich form and the zs form are exactly the same. So it's ich kann and kann. Remembering this one little trick is going to save you so much trouble.
Now, looking at this chart, you can really see that pattern. Just look. That top row for ich is a carbon copy of the third row for zs. See it? The other thing to notice is that a lot of them change their vowel sound. Können becomes kann. Müssen becomes muss. Spot those 2 patterns, and you've basically got it.
Okay, so you know the grammar, the structure, the conjugation. Now let's get into the art of it. Choosing the right modal verb. Because a few of them seem pretty similar, but the subtle differences in meaning are super important if you want to sound like you know what you're talking about.
So let's compare müssen and sollen. Müssen is that deep internal feeling. Ich muss gehen means I must go. It's coming from inside me. But sollen, that's usually coming from someone else. Ich soll gehen means I'm supposed to go. You know, maybe my mom told me I had to. It's a really useful distinction.
And here's another classic mix-up. Können versus dürfen. Können is all about ability. If you say, ich kann schwimmen, you're saying, I know how to swim. But if you want to ask for permission to swim, you need dürfen. Darf ich schwimmen means am I allowed to swim here? It's the difference between can I and may I.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground. So for our final check, let's go over the most common traps that people fall into with these verbs so you can just, step right over them.
So you might see a sentence like this, or maybe you'd even be tempted to write it yourself. Wir wollen gehst. The person is trying to say we want to go, and they got the modal verb wollen in the right spot. But something's definitely off with that last word.
And here's the fix. It should be wir wollen gehen. You have to remember the verb kick rule. That verb at the very end is never, ever conjugated. It's lazy. It just stays in its original dictionary form. That is non-negotiable.
So, to wrap it all up, here are the top 3 mistakes to watch out for. Number 1, forgetting to kick that main verb to the end. Number 2, conjugating the main verb when you shouldn't. And number 3, messing up the modal conjugations, especially forgetting that ish and er are the same. Dodge these 3 and you're golden.
Look, if you walk away from all of this remembering only one thing, just one single thing, please let it be this next point. This is the absolute foundation.
This right here, this is the formula. It's your blueprint for success. Subject first, conjugated modal verb second, all your other details in the middle, and then at the very end of the line, that original untouched infinitive verb. Burn this into your brain. And just like that, you know the secret of the jumping verb. It's not chaos. It's a really elegant system. And it's all thanks to these 6 little helpers. So, now that you know how it works, the only question is, what would you like to say next?